I just came back from my morning run and I checked on some things in YouTube before I went to get a shower, and I ran across Hank's video and I felt compelled to do my VEDA Day 5 as a video response. I think the Hank's video on Orson Scott Card really sort of hit at me pretty hard. I too have been a long time fan of Orson's work, starting in 1989 when a friend gave me Ender's Game to read, and I probably subsequently read a dozen, maybe 24 books of his. You know, the Ender's Game series, the Alvin Maker series, the Folk of the Fridge, the Worthing Saga, the Call to Earth series, the Past Watch, the Redemption of Christopher Columbus, numerous books, let's just say, by him. And so I was shocked when I read the editorial that he penned for the Greensboro Rhino Times, opposing gay marriage in North Carolina. That really shocked me, and I think I feel mostly the same things that Hank expressed more cogently than I'm going to be able to this morning before my first coffee. But there's a little bit of a twist. I mean, I am a gay married man, so that's why it really affects me more maybe than some, and why I get animated about it. So let me just throw something out there at you. Gay marriage exists whether you like it or not. In other words, me and Bobby, who've been together 9 years as of February and got married in Massachusetts almost 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, geez. I'll get in trouble for that one before we move to Texas. We get together and we have formed a life together, and we do all of those things that you associate with being married, in the sense that we provide a space and love for each other, that each of our daily attempts to live up to the kind of person that the other person sees in us makes us each better people. We're kinder and more compassionate and more motivated and more productive, and all the sort of good things that good love between two people brings out. And if you were to spend any amount of time with us in the company of our friends, gay and straight, then you would recognize that there's fundamentally nothing different about our relationship. Oh yeah, I guess you can point to certain activities in the bedroom that can't happen between us, but you know, the amount of time spent in the bedroom not sleeping as a fraction of all the available time in one's day is minuscule, okay? If you're going to base your discriminatory ideas on the particular variety of sex acts, well, you know what? All the things that we do are done by straight people, so and in much larger numbers, so I don't even want to hear that. What it comes down to, though, is opposing gay marriage isn't opposing the right of us to get together. What it is it's deliberately discriminating against us and erecting barriers that make our daily lives much more difficult. You know, listening through the DOMA articles, the DOMA oral arguments, made it clear, you know, that there's really no there. It comes down to saying, well, the studies aren't in on the effect that this is going to have on children. You know, when we adopt, because quite frankly, there's nothing that stops us from adopting, even in the state of Texas, for God's sakes. They won't recognize our marriage, but they'll be just fine with us adopting. What we're going to model for the children is the love and the commitment to solving our problems together, and modeling those joint problem-solving skills in the context of a loving relationship. That's what we're going to put on display for our child or children. And yeah, you could say that because the overwhelming majority of people are straight, that any child we adopt, the overwhelming probability is that they're going to be straight, and maybe it would be easier for them to pick up on all of these lessons if they saw that being modeled by the same kind of couple that they're likely to be in. But you know what? We're human beings. They're not monkeys. They'll figure it out. I'm pretty confident of that. I've seen all sorts of optimal family situations work out just wonderful for the children, and I've seen all sorts of ones that seem optimal yield clearly inferior results when measured by the ability of those children grown up to make a way for themselves in this world that involves kindness to others and productive service to one's fellow man in society. But you know what? What it all comes down to is you have to read it sometimes to believe it. So I've printed out here the May 3rd, 2012 editorial entitled "What Right is Really at Stake." These are Orson Scott Card's words, not what someone said about them. So these signs on people's lawns warning you that the pro-marriage Amendment 1 will harm children, of course it's a lie. In fact, it's really designed to fool careless people into thinking that the amendment is against traditional marriage. They're co-opting the language of conservatives in order to trick conservatives into voting against their moral values. But they've inadvertently tipped their hand. They're letting us see what's really at stake. There's no need to legalize gay marriage. I have plenty of gay friends. Yeah, who the hell are they? Give us names. Someone that would be willing to stand in front of a camera and say, I support Orson Scott Card's view on me and my husband's relationship, who are committed couples. Some of them call themselves married, some don't, but their friends treat them as married. Okay, it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Anyone who doesn't like it just doesn't hang out with them. It's just like heterosexual couples who are living together without marriage. You know what? No, it's not. There was a period of time when Bobby and I were together before we got married, and there's been a period of time since we got married. And the time that we got together before married, that was before we made the commitment to each other. The distinction in my mind between the married state and the not married state is the commitment one's made to one another, and that commitment has been instantiated in the most public way. You know, we stood up in front of 100 of our family and friends in public and not only expressed our commitment, but asked for our community of family and friends to support us in that commitment. And it's that involvement of you in the community of your family and friends, and that recognition that separates married from just, hey, this is my boyfriend. Sorry. Our friends still treat them like a married unit, inviting them to places that are a social unit. Those who strongly disapprove, leave them alone. There are no laws left standing that discriminate against gay couples. What are you smoking? They can visit each other in the hospital. No, they can. What? Not in every state they can't, and not without actually spending money on legal power of attorney document. The stuff that y'all just take for granted if you're a straight married couple. We don't get that stuff. We don't get it. We have to go to lawyers and we have to pay to draft up documents that we have to cart around to places in order to get the basic recognition that we're a social unit. And then we're still not recognized as an economic unit. I mean, you know, it's not all about the benefits. But at the same time, when I look at what my take-home pay is relative to what my take-home pay would be if my husband was a wife, it's lots of money. It's a serious lot of money. It's telling you exactly how much would sort of tip the hand as to what my pay level is, but let's just say that it's about 2 paychecks a year, 2 months worth of pay. That's the difference. It's crazy. And so, yeah, I feel that is active discrimination. I'm sorry. They can benefit from each other's insurance. Yes, but the part of my insurance that is the family part of the plan, I get taxed on that as if that the employer's side of that contribution was actually taxable income, like a benefit to me. You know, that 70% or whatever that's usually swept under the rug and you pay the rest. No, that other amount is added to my paycheck. I'm taxed on it, and then it's deducted back out. So it's like the gay tax, and it's substantial, along with the difference in the treatment of married versus single people in federal law. And so, no, legalizing gay marriage is not about making it possible for gay people to become couples. No, of course they're going to still become couples. It's about not discriminating against them anymore. And here he says it's about giving the left. I mean, who the hell are the left? I can tell you I am not the left. The power to force anti-religious views on our children. Anti-religious views on our children? Love, how about that? Love, compassion, justice. What anti-religious values do I have that I would be... once they legalize gay marriage, it will be the bludgeon they use to make sure that it becomes illegal and to teach traditional values in the schools. Well, if traditional values mean racism and homophobia, then yeah, it's not appropriate to teach those values at schools that are funded by the taxes of the people who you're teaching bigotry against. I do not think that it is fair for me to have to pay taxes to hire people who are going to teach children that I'm a bad person. I shouldn't be enraged by that. Our children will be barraged with the deceptions of the left. What exact deceptions are we talking about? Look, you lost this war a long time ago when we adopted the Bismarckian Prussian model of education, in which children are batched up by their date of manufacture and moved down an assembly line and tossed in the reject pile when they don't conform. You know, that thing we call modern public education today, you know, that does a whole lot more harm than the specifics of what moral outlook you think is being inculcated into your children. Any child with gender or sexual confusion will be pushed inexorably away from the decision to establish a traditional family. I don't see this at all. They're told time and time again that any sign of effeminacy or gender confusion or same-sex attraction is an irrevocable lifelong compulsion, and they might as well shape their lives accordingly. What the hell are you talking about? Okay, you know what? I don't even have time to go into your lack of knowledge of human sexuality. I suggest you start reading some books. This left is at war with the family and they want control of our children's education. I am not the left, okay? I'm quite frankly closer to being a libertarian anarchist than I am a left-leaning person. But what I refuse to see is my tax dollars going to subsidize active discrimination against me. And it sure as hell, the money I can choose to spend, I'm hard pressed to say how on earth could I spend it on anything produced by Orson Scott Card. I'm not making it up, it's already happening. Wherever the left has complete control of education. I hate to tell you this, oh God. The bureaucrats have had complete control of education for a long, long time, Orson. There's nothing true there. And with the teachers, he goes on, starts talking about teachers' unions. If there's any a shred of science behind the absurd claims about gender and sexuality, there might be a case for allowing this to happen, but there is no science behind it. You know, a reproductive dysfunction like same-sex attraction is not a death sentence for your DNA or for your desire to have a family in which children grow up with male and female parents to model appropriate gender roles. A reproductive dysfunction. You know, and then I gotta end this because this video is already long. You know, it took me a long time to come to terms with being gay. A lot longer than some people. You know, Bobby laughs at me because he came out when he was 18. I was 30, okay? You might say 30 is a long time to be wrestling with these issues, you know, during a long period in which I dated nobody. But it came down to, I wanted to understand why I felt this way. And I felt like I couldn't say anything to anybody because, you know, I was raised Catholic, which is not so different than being raised Mormon in that perspective. And even though my parents did and do love me, this was clearly not in keeping with the moral compass on which I was raised. You know, eventually you realize that I don't know why. I don't know what combination of genetic predisposition, gestational hormone balance, experiential things. I mean, my parents are both very straight, thank you, and I didn't have them absent. I was raised in a loving family. There's none of these obvious markers that these people want to point to. Yet this is how I turned out, and in retrospect, it's all worked. I have the love of my life. My wedding was attended by all of my family and friends, and it was a wonderful thing. But to spew this crap to some 14 or 15 or 16-year-old, there are folks that are confused, okay, but there are folks that are not confused, and at a certain point, I finally said, I'm going to die without actually understanding why it is that I ended up this way, and I can either be miserable about that, or I can take positive steps in the direction of my own happiness. And you know what? Everything that has gone right in my life over the past dozen years, and it is coming up on a dozen years since I came out, everything that's happened in my life for the positive has been a result of being open and honest completely about myself to the people who care about me the most, and every single one of those people said that there's a profound change and deepening of the friendship that we had, the relationship that we had, as a result of me no longer trying to hide this essential truth about myself. So you can spew this crap, Orson Scott Card, but it isn't true. It isn't true. And you have conflated all of the things that you don't like about, I guess what you might say, the left liberal tradition into one thing, and said this is just another bubble on the wart on the monster that you call left liberalism. Well, you know what? No, that's not what this is about to me. This is about me and my family and others similarly situated like me. And so screw you, Orson Scott Card. And thank you, Hank, for posting this video that got me to respond in this way. And I'm sorry for this long rant, but I just had to get off my chest. And now I need to stop and upload this and get a shower and get to work and be a productive member of society rather than spewing hate against other people. Thank you. And have a nice day.